First up on our agenda is public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to address this body today? Seeing nobody. Moving on to approval of the April 20th, 2026 meeting minutes. Everybody's had a chance to review them. If somebody'd like to make a motion for approval.
So
Everybody
moved,
shy
Donald.
today.
Donald from Enfield.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second, Scott.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Okay. Looks like the motion carries. CCSWA chair report. I think we got a lot to report today. We have our $115,000 OPM grant, which is about 50% spent at this point. We actually were fortunate and we received an extension that goes into the fall. So it gives us a little bit more time to do the work. Originally, that grant was supposed to end, I believe, at the end of July, which really put a lot of pressure on our consultants. We had very good turnout for our CCSWA member survey, where we were looking to kind of get a better understanding of everybody's MSW and recycling situation. We still have one community outstanding, but we have 15 of the 16 responses. And that information is going to be very useful as we kind of compile what we're trying to accomplish as an authority. One of the questions on there that I thought was very interesting was how can CSWA best support your municipality? And the two popular answers were, a group solution to the MSW collection and disposal, and development of diversion and outreach programs. The development of the diversion and outreach programs, I think, is probably the lighter of the two lifts there, but it's something I think we can definitely see some real progress on in the next few months. We spent a little time over the last couple of months developing a branding. So we have a new logo, a tagline, and a mission statement with the help of H2M and IMEG. Pauline, would I be able to share my screen or?
I believe you can.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, can everybody see that? So we have our new logo. We have the logo with the tagline, which is Regional Solutions, Sustainable Future. And then the mission statement is CCSWA's mission is to advance, innovate, environmentally responsible, cost-effective, long-term regional solid waste management methods to promote a sustainable future for our communities. We seek to improve municipal solid waste disposal, increase recycling and waste diversion rates, and expand waste and recycling infrastructure through coordinated education, outreach programs, and partnerships. So pretty much covering a little of everything. See if I can hopefully do this. Okay, hopefully you don't see my screen anymore.
You don't?
Okay, I don't want anybody to see my notes. I got it all figured out today. With that, we're updating a CCSW webpage, which is going to be focusing kind of in 3 different buckets on supporting municipalities, vendors, and the public. We've also been working on our hauler engagement. I think most of us realize that we are not going to solve this problem as municipalities, and we need to work with the existing MSW haulers, recycling facilities, and disposal facilities. We met with Casella Waste Systems. We also met on site with Circular Services, which is also Quantum in Southington. Very impressive facility they have for recycling and food waste. And tomorrow we are meeting with USA Hauling up at their offices in Enfield. I think we all, in one way or another, have a contract with USA, and I think they're really going to be a key to hopefully finding some solutions going forward. So with that, that ends what I have for my report. And I believe next up on the agenda would be the report from Pauline.
Yeah. So in terms of the staff update, I am, I guess, subbing for Robin while she is out. But in terms of the staff update, we have interviews scheduled for the Regional Education Outreach Coordinator for next week. And thanks to Russ, who's not here, but Russ for volunteering to be one of the review committee members. We're kind of excited about that. We've had some very strong applications, so I'm pretty excited about that. The SMM food waste collection update. We just got the grant from DEEP. Matt Hart just signed it, and we are waiting for Katie Dyke's countersignature. So we are very close to being able to start that grant. This summer, I would imagine that we would have it by the beginning of the fiscal year from Commissioner Dyke's office. So that's very exciting. As Tom mentioned, we did get an extension for the RSG portion for those membership. Remember that we had $115,000 for solid waste that came about as a result of the special session last fall. And so we received an extension for that until September 30th. So a bulk of that work has already been done, but it gives us a lot of breathing room because we were up against it, because actually the due date wasn't end of July, Tom, it was in 2 weeks, end of June. So H2M was sweating it, but they're not sweating it anymore. So that's actually really good. We're excited that it'll end up with some meaningful work in that area. And Tom, if you don't mind, I'll continue with H2M's update.
That'd be great.
So Laura from H2M was unable to be here. She had planned to be here to give an update. We do have a written update from her that we will email out to the membership after the meeting. But the summary of that is the member survey information, which Tom actually already shared, as well as updates on the branding, which Tom already shared, and the outreach in terms of the next steps for CSWA outreach is looking at participation or opportunities in regional events, and then continuing on with the facility and hauler engagement, which Laura from H2M will be at tomorrow's meeting, and then the additional feature implementation support. We were looking at some GIS and spatial tasks in terms of data sets. We have CROG has a sort of solid waste infrastructure map that's very, very light in terms of details and probably not accurate anymore. And so HM is looking to update that information, as well as potentially other things along that sort of GIS opportunities, and giving CROG some layers to be able to host on our site for the future, and some data around that as well. I think that's the H2M update. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but once you have the written report, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to Laura directly. I will say, with regards to the website, we have been going around and around on that. I think right now the focus is really going to be on getting the municipal resource page sort of good and up and running, since we think that'll be the most value to the membership. So that's going to be the focus of that of that development of the website, and hopefully we'll have something for you fairly soon, before the next meeting, I think.
Love it.
So, and I'm happy to take any questions people might have.
No questions for Pauline, which is okay, because we have gone through at a blistering pace to get here. Originally, we were supposed to have this meeting in person, but especially with Robin still being out, I didn't think it was the right one to do. And I also know this time of year, a lot of people are busy with vacations and traveling. But one of the key things I don't think we've done enough of is kind of talking about what are we trying to do as an authority, and what are we all looking for? And as the executive committee, we've spent a lot of time kind of in the weeds, But I was hoping we could just take 10, 15 minutes and kind of see where everybody's at and what do you see as our ability to help you in your town and what you're dealing with, and kind of moving the ball forward. Are we heading in the right direction? Are there areas that you'd like to see us focus on? Are there things that aren't getting done in your community that we could help with? So kind of floor is open. If nobody speaks up, I'm going to have Pauline just randomly pick on people.
So this is Donald from Enfield. My town manager tasked me with coming up with an innovative way to revolutionize trash pickup and cut cost without changing barrel size or reducing any of the services we have now. So pretty much an impossible task, right? I mean, there's no appetite for barrel size reduction because back in the day when I I lived in Chicopee and we had unlimited trash. The next thing you know, we had 32-gallon barrels delivered, one per house, and that was it. And tough crap, and you've got to deal with it and pay as you throw after that. But without having any sort of appetite for barrel reduction or change in services, I don't know how I'm supposed to possibly come up with a revolutionary way to cut costs. And since again we're contracted with USA, I mean our rates are, well, I think, are astronomical. So hopefully your meeting with USA will help get some rates down. So that's all.
I would just be curious, kind of show of hands. I know I personally have not always been a big fan of pay as you throw and just the challenge that has with residents. But I've always tried to say is, in town, our previous trash hauler, when it was Payne's, would offer 3 different barrel sizes. And I think the 90, the 60, and the 45. How many of you, just maybe by a show of hands, think that your communities would support a different pricing structure based upon smaller barrel sizes?
I know Enfield won't.
Yeah, you're just going to come up with something revolutionary, Don. We're all going to follow you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, giving everybody trash compact, I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
Yeah, you need an automated truck, that like driverless truck. That's what you're gonna need. Which Connecticut, yeah.
So
This is Christina from Summers.
Yep.
For us, our town is a different dynamic. I know a lot of towns have curbside. We have both. Residents can choose curbside, and the town pays for the waste that's in the USA truck, and then we have the recycling center. So I missed the first couple minutes, I think, of Paula's discussion with USA, so I missed that part of it. But I just want to give my feedback that we just don't have curbside here, and there may be other towns similar.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with subscription services built into the tax base. Simsbury, where I'm, it's subscription based, and for years we had 2 haulers, which really made life great. Nothing better than when I got to complain about the trash hauler, and I could just tell the resident, you could fire him, go move on to somebody else. Now we have residents that are very upset that they feel they don't have any choice at all in the matter, and they're quick to ask me to somehow change that. And it's not very likely. Vlada, did I see you had your hand up earlier?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking, I think I need a little bit more clarity on what the grant funding is for, that you're contracting for. I don't know if I'm quite familiar with that.
So we have 3, basically there's three buckets. We have the RWA, which is the Regional Waste Authority grant funding, which for most other regions, it was to explore the possibility of establishing an RWA. In our case, we are looking at towards what are some implementation things we can use the remainder of that funding for. It's for the operations of the RWA, as well as looking towards sort of diversion opportunities within that bucket. The second bucket is regional services grant, which was the grant that was the $115,000 that I discussed, and that was actually driven by sort of CSWA members of what do we need, what do we want to do, and so that included the CSWA branding, the market, the hauler outreach, just understanding where things are, and also we'll be looking at sort of that the future implementation support as well. So those two are sort of going to dovetail together. And the third, which is the SMM grant, which we just, well, we haven't quite gotten the executed copy yet, but we're about to. That is for food waste diversion for CSWA members. And we're looking at basic equipment for that potential, with some potential implementation opportunities there as well. So those are the three buckets.
I guess I'm just wondering, I've heard some other communities do like neighborhood pilot programs. I'm curious if you've looked into having municipalities either survey or maybe say this we think would be a good neighborhood to do a pilot program with diversion, and seeing how that works. I've just heard it work in other communities. We're one that just we haven't gotten anywhere, but you know, when you hear about success somewhere, it's like, well, what did they do? So I feel, well, how do you get there? You have to try it out somewhere. So, I mean, as a resident of the municipality I work at, I would love if we could do something in Wethersfield where I live, because right now I use Blue Earth, so I'm paying myself to have my food waste brought out. But it would be great if we could try a pilot program, see how much actually gets diverted over the course of 3 to 6 month period, and be able to gauge how we could scale that up in a larger area or in a district, and then move to the town, and to really try to divert. But start off really small in a neighborhood, in a town, in a municipality somewhere, and then bring it out. But I know you're having those discussions with haulers right now too, so this is probably kind of a good timing to figure out where to launch something like that.
Yeah, and I would actually be curious what your feelings have been being a customer of Blue Earth.
I've enjoyed it. I think it's been great. The service has been pretty good. It's really easy to get a hold of someone. I'm able to track and see how much they pick up each week. Do I think it's the most accurate with how much they pick up? No. I think some weeks I've thought, I thought that was 10 or 15 pounds and they've tracked too. So I think there's a little disparity with that, but still, I can see roughly how much has been picked up to date, and it's really astounding. It's anywhere between 8 to 10 pounds every 2 weeks at my house, a house of 2 people. That's a lot, I think. So if we were able to take that out of the municipal solid waste stream for even a neighborhood, what would that mean? I know, that would be interesting to calculate out for a municipality, how much that could decrease for hauling costs.
Yeah, and we had had some conversations with that a little bit in Simsbury, where it was tough. We had a group of people who really wanted us to get into the food waste business, and we said there's a commercial option available, but they all want the exact same thing. If I pay Blue Earth $175 a year, I want my regular trash to be reduced by $175, and it's just they're still sending a truck. Yeah.
And the biggest cost of the hauling is the truck, right? It's in these days especially. I mean, I'm a subscriber because my town doesn't pay for anything, and I was like, oh, if I reduce my pail, I get to reduce my cost by $2 a month. If I reduce whatever size I have down to the next size, it's $6 a quarter, and I said, well, that's kind of not worth it. Because the expensive part is the truck itself, right? That goes around. But I mean, potentially.
Yeah, the one thing we did, or we are doing right now in Simsbury, is at our bulky waste facility, we are allowing food waste to be disposed of there. it's been a pittance. It's been maybe 4 or 5 families. I think I pay $48 a quarter for when they get rid of it. But at least we're trying to see whether we can generate some interest. But again, it's that convenience of curbside versus driving it across town.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, as someone who's emptying out those things, bi-weekly, I paid up for the cleaning fee for them to clean out my bucket because it was just getting gross. And in the summer it's hot, it stinks, and it's so to haul your food waste somewhere else other than a curbside is pretty. I don't want to say it's asking a lot, but it's that inconvenience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I've heard that very same thing, is that the bucket gets gross.
This just occurred to me, but what about something that's located in a semi-central location that's easy to get to, like what Vlada was talking about in terms of neighborhood, like at a school or someplace where people could drop it off, and then there was one pickup point, like if, I don't know, this just occurred to me while I was thinking about that. If that's something that, I'm thinking about my neighborhood elementary schools got their bins pretty basically open to the public. Like their their trash and recycling bins are easy to get to, and you could easily add a kind of a, I don't know if you could easily add, but it's possible you could potentially add something there. I don't know, just throwing out an idea.
Yeah. I think it's tough anytime you take that and you have to put it in the car. That's like the barrier.
Yeah, that's true. Mhm.
I always think about the families that are like walking their dogs. They're kind of carrying that poop anyway. So if you could if you could make locations in a neighborhood close enough where maybe there's a lot of dog walkers, or you could look at maybe town registrations where there's dogs. I don't know, but and then getting the word
yeah.
out to that neighborhood. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the struggle in Connecticut is that we don't have the population density, right? Because there are,
What about an apartment building
yeah,
or near
The-
like a development like that, like a little community, and have a test site?
right. Those would be the more, I think you need population density in order for something like that to, where the food cost, where the waste cost is more than the truck cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We
I
should
know
try to
when
get New Haven.
Yeah, when we had met with, I always want to call them Quantum Circular, they had talked about how they have a very successful program at Yukon, and it's one truck once a week, and it picks up from everywhere, and it made it very cost effective, and they said that was one of their bigger successes. And it's also was very interesting as somebody who doesn't do this every day. They were talking about the consistency of the food, and sometimes they'll get large quantities of spoiled food from like a yogurt manufacturer, and they have to be careful how they put it into their digester, because it's essentially like your own stomach, and too much of any one thing at a time is going to upset the system. So it's certainly informational, and I think they're a great example of building to the next level. But I think, as Pauline said, the trucking seems to be a big part of the challenge. And then the other part is, getting people engaged. And I certainly like the idea of doing targeted pilot programs. Because again, that takes the trucking. If it's one whole neighborhood and they're getting every single house.
Or even half the households.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the problem, I think, with Blue Earth too. I could only select certain dates, and the rates fluctuate based on by municipality location, based on how often they're in that area too, right? So anyway.
Yeah, almost the more it's almost begins to be a pyramid scheme where the more your friends you can get involved and all agreeing to pick up on Wednesdays, the cheaper it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Donald's idea of a compactor at home. I don't want to pontificate too much here, but until Americans stop over consuming, and I don't know, Just seems like there's a lack of care. Because if everybody just took a little bit of effort, we could really downsize our tonnage, and we have one of those community local food organic drop, and not to steal Tom's word, but it is a pittance. It's maybe a pound of food a week, and we've got 30,000 people here in town, and it's not for lack of effort or education or notifying folks. It's just people don't have the time or don't have the care. Maybe an
What ab-
at-home incinerator.
Yeah.
Like that, like the food waste incinerator, like they have the food waste, is that, or just?
I'm just throwing ideas at the wall here.
Well, Vince, what do you think about home-based composting?
Yeah, we've tried that program here. I think we've even subsidized the purchase of the composters. And just a couple of walls over, I think there's half a dozen sitting there waiting for the first person to come take them. Admittedly, at our own house at the town garage, I ponied up and got one of those, and I think there's a banana peel in it. There's just a really, really big disconnection between the users of this system and the folks that operate it and have to deal with the long-term costs.
A hand up from Rebecca.
I think Christina was first.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Sorry. Christina?
Thank you, Rebecca. So Summer started our food waste program volunteer 2 years ago. I had a good run the first couple months with people, and now I think we have 132 people in town, and we have, I think our population is around 10,000, but we're pulling a half a ton to a ton a month, depending on the month, with just 125. So I can say for sure that those 125 are committed if we could just get more. And for us, I think it's the dynamics and showing them how it's going to save us. Yes, more people saving and composting or collecting their food scraps will make a huge difference, but when we have 132 people, you only see a small difference. I know there's been multiple programs. I know it was talked about municipalities combining together. I know Ellington and I have been trying to do that with a couple things. It's just a lot of times the small towns, their footprint is either too small or financially we just can't support it. So if we went to more regional, or like what Creoc, Manchester is great because all the towns, we use their household hazardous waste, but maybe if we had more programs under Creoc, we could continue those programs like maybe food waste or plastic film or stuff of that sort. I just wanted to give our input that I think we're doing well with the amount of people we have here for food waste, but I'd love to see everybody do it. And that's at the transfer station only, not curbside.
So I think you bring up a good point, even with the plastic film. And is there any of the recyclable items that would have enough interest that, again, as this authority, that we could start looking at for the region?
So,
And
hi,
like-
Rebecca.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
I was just gonna say that what you literally just said, Christina, we've had our food scrap drop-off program for like 2 years now. We have like 300 or so people signed up to use the app, and we have about 100 people a week who use it, but we get 1,000 pounds of food waste basically every week. That's for the units that are located across town, so like kind of within neighborhoods, like the senior center, the library, at a park. And we also have the collection inside the transfer station. So it's been pretty steady, and we are starting to grow now that we are allowing everyone in Manchester to use it.
Have you had any trouble with wildlife, bears, that kind of thing?
No, they're inside Metro Store bins, and we haven't had We have very little contamination problems. I get emails sometimes from people who are like, oh my God, I dropped my bucket in. Can you go get it? I'm so sorry. But we haven't had any animals. And when it's hot out, we have it picked up twice a week because it gets smelly. But that's really it. And All American hauls it for us.
That's great. Okay. Scott.
Let me unmic. On the plastic film, part of our grant was included money for a baler for plastic film. And we'll be looking to go out to an RFP probably this summer to get one here. But as we're going through what that actually entails and getting into the details a little bit, really you need about 15 to 20 bales worth of plastic film before the next track or somebody like that is ready to come and pick them up from you. So we need some additional indoor storage locations to be able to support that. And frankly, based on the information we have from some of the markets, that's probably going to be 6 or 8 months unless we're bringing in plastic film from other towns. We won't get pickups that frequently. But we are going to be looking at whether it's Summers, Enfield, some of the originally Glastonbury are shown some interest in plastic film recycling. So we're hoping to make that a regional activity. But it's really early in the phase, in the planning.
Well, speaking of that, Scott, since, I love regional stuff, and we just had our household hazardous waste collection for our little region this past Saturday. Is there an interest in terms of the communities involved in seeing CCSWA try to help broaden household hazardous waste collections?
I'll say that, the CREAC group is 10 towns. We do 10 collections a year. 9 of them are right here in Manchester. We had one this past weekend. And then one of them is in a satellite, either Stafford, Summers, or this year it's in Ellington. And we get between 350 and 400 people typically for every one of those events. So we're getting 3,500 people come through in a year.
Yeah. We partnered Simsbury, Avon, Farmington, Granby, Suffield, and Canton. And we do 3 collections a year, 2 in Simsbury, 1 in Farmington. And we had a pretty good event with, I think, 740 this Saturday in a half day.
In a half day?
Yeah.
Your contractor's working.
Yeah, we have MXI. Don't steal them. They've been amazing.
They've been good.
It's
good to
we
know.
start with a line. Our facility is on an old railroad line, so it's about a mile long straightaway, and the cars line up at 8 like there's something exciting. And within half hour, 45 minutes, the line is down to like 10, 12 cars, and we run them through, and really there was minimal lines all day.
How many of your towns are taking paint somewhere else besides HHW events?
Yeah, we take paint.
I meant not counting the HHW at the transfer station.
Yep, no, we take it at the transfer station.
Okay. Yeah, because originally that was our biggest, most people were bringing paint in, and we don't see as much of that anymore. We're kind of limiting it to the 350 or 400, and we would get the long lines. So we've set up an appointment system the last 3 years or so.
Oh, wow.
It's not perfect, but it helps, it helps traffic flow.
Yeah, the one thing we've done is we'll try to send somebody down the line if it gets long and saying, oh my goodness, if all you have is consumer electronics, you can bring those to our transfer station, or paint can go here. We've had people, it's almost humorous. They have one little thing that they want to recycle, and we're like, there's an easy way without waiting in line.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else have any other issues or initiatives or areas that maybe CCSWA can start to kind of venture in? I got one last question is, what can we do? What do we need to do to grow our membership? Right now, we're 14 towns teetering on 16. And I think it's really hard to have, a big voice within the region if we don't represent more towns. So. Pauline, I'm just waiting for somebody to answer.
I'll start making calls, Tom, and start politicking.
All right. Vince is going to be twisting some arms over on the other side of the river.
Who should I start with first?
And anybody who's not currently on our list of towns. And if you are looking to do that, and maybe Pauline, we could email it out. Pauline made a nice one pager of kind of like why you want to be a member.
Okay.
And again, it's a good start. And again, the whole point for me is there's strength in numbers, and we have a kind of a solid waste crisis in Connecticut, and we've got to start somewhere. So
yeah, let's collaborate, and I think I could probably get some folks' attention. So
all right.
I will say for the record, I believe it was Robin who made that one major. I can't take credit for it.
That's good. I don't want Robin coming back and everybody telling her, oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe what Pauline got done. All right. Well, in that case, everybody can talk with their neighboring communities, talk with the folks at all of our different meetings about joining up, and our next full meetings in a couple months, right?
September, October. I am ill prepared.
I think it's September.
September sounds right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.